All right, looks like we're on the air. Welcome back to the channel. This is Wes. Comics Aficionados is starting a little bit later this week. I just finished up my in-game spoiler review, so if you want to check that afterwards, that's great. But today we're going to talk Heroes in Crisis. Number 8's been a big hot-button issue in the community. And for the first time ever, we have the proprietor of Garbage Tier Media, Jamal. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, we've been trying to get you on, or I've been trying to get you on the channel for a while now, so I'm glad it finally worked out.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube and I'm on Twitter, but right now my focus has been on Facebook because that's just where I'm at right now. So I'm still around. I'm just not as active.
Yep. Okay. So also with us we've got Paley. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, just trying to get my shit together here this morning.
Absolutely.
Using my iPad this morning instead of using the computer. We'll see how that works out.
All right, so you got your power back and everything? I know you were having a little emergency.
Yep. Got the power back last night. We lost for about 12, 14 hours. And welcome to Appalachia.
Yeah, we had a little issue earlier in the week. We had a little earthquake.
Yeah. You were talking about that.
Just a little earthquake. Just a little earthquake.
Yeah,
you're having like zombie apocalypse type stuff going on over there.
Last time we had one here, I wasn't living here. My wife was here, with our son. It was before I moved out here. She's like, we're not gonna have power for 30 days. The baby's.
Oh fuck.
The baby's was maybe like 1.5 at the time. She's like, he's gonna be, he can't be sitting here in all this heat. So I had bought a generator and stuff, but it ended up only being 10 days. So I was expecting that again to happen, but thankfully it was only 7 hours, and we got our power back. Yeah, okay. It was nothing like it was before.
Yeah, we don't get to Detroit.
Yeah, you don't no quakes in Detroit.
No, nothing. we may get a severe thunderstorm.
So funny enough, I think Detroit actually is the one that took out Doc. He said he went up to Detroit and got sick. So
Detroit gets fucking blizzards, man.
Yeah,
blizzards like you wouldn't fucking believe.
Awesome. Also, with the channel, we got Ash on Comics. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, everyone. Hey.
Cool. Right, you just made it right in time for the introductions. Also, we got Sergeant Bats. What's going on, homie?
Yo, what's up?
And last but not least, we have Mr. Mainstream himself, Jeremy. What's going on?
What's going on? I just brushed my hair. What's going on, guys?
Oh, it looks beautiful.
Long strokes, right? 100 strokes.
So this week, Heroes in Crisis number 8 dropped. It's the second to last issue. The murderer is finally revealed, and it's Wally West. And I think a lot of people knew that it was going to be Wally West, and it was going to have to do something to do with his feelings. But I don't think anyone quite imagined exactly how it was going to go, and it's caused quite an uproar. There's been claims of death threats against writer Tom King over it. I know Bats himself is I think he's sworn off DC Comics for now over it. So I thought we'd all talk about it, the fallout, the implications, what we're seeing in the community and all that. I know, Ash, you had a lot to say about it. You want to start out? What are your thoughts on Heroes in Crisis number 8?
Oh boy, man, you don't waste any time. Heroes in Crisis is really good. I've done 3 videos now talking about Heroes in Crisis, and now I'm sitting here faced with the this question, and I'm kind of lost for words. I've been a proponent of this series since the beginning because I'm a writer at heart, even though I'm not a professional writer or anything. And I always approach stories from that perspective, whether it's movies, novels, comics, whatever. And I truly, truly believe in the idea that writers need to be free creatively. If we try to put too many boundaries and walls around a writer, put too many rules and everything, it really stifles the imagination. And I think some of our greatest stories, and if we're speaking strictly on comics, have come at times where writers just went outside the box and just didn't have to worry about adhering to nonsense like they do today with all the, the progressive ideology where we can't talk about this, can't talk about that, can't do. It's like it works in every angle. And so with Heroes in Crisis came out, I was like, look, I understand that the some of the decisions and things happening in the story are pissing people off. And mind you, I'm still talking about issue number 1 now. But let's give it a chance. Let's not go batshit crazy just because a writer took a decision with a character that we didn't like. If we do that, we should just quit collecting, because it's an unreasonable expectation that writers will always be appealing to what we like subjectively, because we're all different. We all had different upbringings and different life experiences. Some things are going to appeal to us that other people just go, oh my God, that's stupid, But
well, if something bad happens with a character, just wait a couple hours and it'll change.
Sure.
There's a lot of shit.
And if
like
something
that
good's going on with the character, the same thing.
Exactly. But this was
but
so radical.
There's also a limit, right?
Yep.
There's also a level of like tolerance you can expect out of a reader. I'm willing to be open and say, look, try some things, do some things. But at the same time, I'm expecting a good writer, especially a writer of a professional content, like that's like DC and Marvel, where it's like, this isn't just your playground. This is a playground that fans have established over 80 years. That these characters exist only because of the fandom, not because you decided to start your own comic company and create your own characters and do all this stuff. So you as a writer also do have a responsibility to think about that. Not even considering just the professional level. So I just put my trust in that and say, okay, and a good writer doesn't betray that. They may not make the best decisions. They might go a direction you think isn't great, but at least they're still respecting you the whole time. In Heroes in Crisis, it's number 1 sin for me so far. And I'm still like giving that 0.1% chance that in issue 9 will change how we view everything. I'm not holding out, but I just is my ideology of just saying, let's wait till it's all done before we fully cast judgment. Anyways,
the story's already explained in the covers how it ends.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's snowball's chance in hell. That's just my whole thing. Anyways, what Tom King has done is way past the pale. It's Wes put so aptly in his review of like, it's just a middle finger to fans. You can have ideas and do some interesting things. That's fine. As soon as you stop respecting the fandom, you're no longer being creative. You are just being an arrogant asshole and thinking that your shit's important and no one else matters. And in this particular case, it was just antithetical to everything that DC stood for, what fans stood for. And it was just like, F you fans. We don't give a shit about how you feel. We're doing something that's completely and utterly ridiculous and has no founding or merit in the decision whatsoever. We can't justify it other than to say we're going to do whatever we want and F you. Like that
was an entire generation's Flash. Just fuck you,
Yeah,
it's multiple generation.
Yeah,
because,
2, 3.
Yeah, because like I didn't come into comics till about officially around 99, and I didn't actually start officially collecting the Flash until about 2003. But I was already enjoying this character from back issues of Titans, and he would make guest appearances on Nightwing and Robin, and I was like, oh, I really like this character. He's fun. He's interesting. I like that he used to be a sidekick and he stepped up to the plate.
He was also the most. I in my opinion, he was the most morally complete of the Flash family. I mean, and he took all this upon himself with Barry Allen's death to be the patriarch, I guess you could say, of the family in a way. And he really, of all the speedsters, and he really became that rock for that class of characters, that type of character. And now King just shit on him. I mean, he basically tore out, that moral center that DC had right there. So it's pretty shocking.
Everyone keeps asking for a miracle, for something can happen, and before jumping on, I heard Ash talking about in his video about the dark multiverse. That's a cool theory. I like it. The problem is the story's already been told on the covers, and Tom King's already addressed this in Batman. It's Psycho Pirate. Psycho Pirate can change your emotions and do all these things to you. So more than likely, Sanctuary was set up for Psycho Pirate and gave Psycho Pirate some purpose, and it turned Wally West into a sociopath. And so, yeah, it's like that's not Wally West. It's because Psycho Pirate is a character who changes other people's emotions, and it's all going to be like dun 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 right at the end. And It's like,
I'm not sure if that's going to be the whole thing, though. I think that with Psycho Pirate is going to be revealing issues that Wally already has. It's just magnified. And that's what Tom King actually pulled with his Gotham arc with Gotham Girl and the Gotham guy.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. Jeff Johns, Dan Abnett, and anyone who ever's come before it would say otherwise. That's not Wally West's character other than Tom King. So who's in the right? The customer's certainly always right. And I'm curious on what you got to say, Jamal, because you're the first person who's shined any light in this dark tunnel of hell.
No, I had a customer kind of argue the same thing on Thursday, at the store. And it's like, well, it's Psycho Pirates, Psycho Pirates involved and blah blah blah. He really gave a detailed, explained analysis on this, and I'm like, yeah, but that's not going to be 99% of the other customers' perceptions involved on this. They're going to really focus in on this. That Wally West is a killer.
Yeah, so and it's like I think it's the same thing like that happened with Captain America when he was revealed to be a Nazi. It's like it's just a bad look. It's like, well, why did you land on this story?
Right.
Hey, back it up. What's Psycho Pirate? What the fuck's that?
Psycho Pirate is a character from the Flash villains. He's the mask thing that we keep seeing.
The gold masks.
The gold masks. He's a character who his power is that so he can just like make you mad and make you do things. So basically, he plays with the emotional spectrum. He plays on the emotional spectrum, so he can make heroes fight each other, make them mad at each other, and bring things that they have bottled up and bring it to the forefront and make it take over them.
His superpower is that he can cause psychotic breaks.
Yeah.
Is this a new character? I've never even heard of him.
No, he's been around. He's old school Silver Age DC.
Yeah.
Never even heard of him.
He's in a lot of Tom King's Batman right now. He's been in there for like this whole run. He's played a role.
He was. I haven't seen him at all because I haven't been reading that shit at all.
Could be that.
Well, how different writers have like different devices that they like to use, different villains that they like to use. We see that with Al Ewing as far as Incredible Hulk. He's pulled out certain points there. Donny Cates does that shit constantly, where he'll just kind of pick something from like 40 years ago and just pull it in. Say, this is this guy, and I know you haven't seen him before, and the only people that are going to remember this is some guy in Des Moines, Iowa, that just happened to be reading, X-Men 45 years ago, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it out and use him now. But it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, but when you take like the heart and soul of a universe, you're like, oh yeah, by the way, he's a murdering sociopath.
So my problem also is Wally West was brought back at Rebirth as a symbol of hope and basically a gesture to DC fans that said, we acknowledge we made a mistake. We're going to give you Wally West back. We're going to fix the universe. And what they've done to him now is basically saying all those fans, the readers that came back, that put faith in DC, screw you. Wally West is always insane, apparently. He's a bad guy, and DC Rebirth isn't what we wanted. And we don't appreciate that you came back and gave us 2 years of readership after we let you down with the New 52. I believe that's essentially why they did it to him specifically.
Get bent, you hosers.
I don't think so. I'm going to go ahead and chime in where I break with you guys.
Go ahead.
Just strictly from a storytelling perspective, with Rebirth, Wally West is one character where his entire world is gone. His wife is gone. His kids are gone. In the current state, he's not even Wally West anymore. There's a black guy running around with his role, his identity. So from a comic perspective, I understand. From a storytelling perspective, it's pretty likely that he would be screwed up just from that. Like we have Elseworld stories and what if stories, but this is Wally's life right now. Like he's not. He's like an anonym. I can't even say it. Anonym. He's not there. He's not right compared to everybody else.
But he wasn't like that until the end of Flash Wars.
Yeah,
I understand. But I mean,
but he was specifically made that way for this event.
But we don't really know what his internal thoughts are either because he's not carrying a title. And I think
he's also a fictional character, and the point of DC Comics is that they're aspirational heroes. So when you take the heart and soul of the aspirational hero universe and be like, oh yeah, the rebirth of this universe, the heart and soul, the hope, the shining symbol of hope. Just kidding. Yeah, he's a mass murdering sociopath.
I'm actually seeing the other point of view on this here too.
I totally understand why people were mad, but just with what Tom King was working with and the story he was trying to tell, I think that's why he chose Wally, because if just looking at the character from Rebirth to now, everybody's saying, "Oh, Wally's like the shining star, shining beacon for the universe." But at this time, nobody's examining like what he's going through when he's not wearing the mask, when he's not.
Well, I could
with all these characters.
I'm agreeing with you on this. Mm-hmm. I'm really agreeing with you on this. I could see it. Wally has a break and he freaks out. He kills Poison Ivy. He's oh God, what did I do? What did I do? Not I'm going to kill this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. It's just like I could see an instance where he just went, once, not again and again and again.
And the cover up.
Yeah, and then the cover up and lying about it, and it's like,
that was sloppy. I can't give Tom King that whatever he's doing right there with the cover up and all that, that's sloppy as hell.
And somebody else was brought up. We had this argument like this at the store, and he said, yeah, but it happened in that instant. I said, that instant was like 10 years.
He's a speedster.
To a speedster. It's like he had time to analyze this. He had time to go and get every single little bit of data from every single packet, and recompile this all together so he could get this image of what everybody was there for, so he could find out all this information on them and everything like that. I said he spent a lifetime, several human lifetimes analyzing, breaking this data down. This would be like me writing, the entire Encyclopedia Britannica and then, coming back with an analysis, of my own work on that, and then presenting it verbatim. That's how much work that he put into that. And to imagine being at that depth of evil at that point, not only to perpetrate that, not to go through that, to perpetrate the murders, then to build up a backup plan to cover his ass, and then to lie about it to the people that matter most to him now. And it's like, whoa, this is so fucked up. You know, this guy is like Joker levels of evil now.
Yeah, and my argument to that would be that I don't think Wally in this instance, because the influence from Psycho Pirate, is viewing these people as even being real. Because again, he's not in his reality. So he may not be looking at them like these are his friends and families and associates, because he's not even from this reality.
What if Psycho Pirate's not a part of this? Is that confirmed?
He doesn't. They don't have to be. I mean, he doesn't have to be. But I mean, it's just like if you read a What If comic, right? As a reader, you can go back and say that, hey, this isn't real.
But Psycho Pirate could drive him insane for like 200 years.
He probably can drive him insane for 2 seconds. That's what happened in the book. It was just a
no, but 2 seconds is not 2 seconds to a speedster like that. When he's that close to the speedster force, that would be like him going insane for like 200 years.
I don't think Tom thought that far ahead.
Oh,
I mean, just reality. I don't think he thought that far ahead with the story.
On a business sense about this. So if we go back to 2016 when Rebirth came out, DC Comics, and Pele, you'll remember this, DC Comics had announced their 2-year plan. Their 2-year plan was that the first year, all the books that were twice monthly were going to drop back to once a month.
Yeah.
They're all going to drop back to once a month. They were just going to use the first year to accelerate the storyline in all the books. And then another thing they had promised us, they're drawing the line at $2.99, except for the books that were monthly. Those were $3.99, but all your Batmans, your detectives, your actions, your Superman, your Flash, your Justice League, your Nightwing, all that stuff was $2.99. All the books that were twice monthly, $2.99.
And all the once monthly books were going to be 32-page large.
Yeah, and also
32 pages.
The 2-year plan was to get us to Doomsday, the beginning of Doomsday Clock. And then after Doomsday Clock, which was going to be a 12-part monthly series, at the third year, all of DC would be reconstructed in a New 52 post-crisis, pre-Flashpoint, new reset universe like it's 1985 again, and we'll be moving forward from there. Well, now it's 2019. All the books are $3.99. Half of the books are still twice monthly. We have Heroes in Crisis in replacement of actually finishing
Doomsday Clock.
Doomsday Clock. Now we're getting the Year of the Villain. We're getting Deceased. We're getting all these sidetracked, the BS nonsense corporate crap where they're like, okay, what sells DC Comics? Kill the heroes, kill the heroes, kill the heroes, kill the heroes.
Yeah,
right?
that's
no. I'm done. I'm out. In. No more. I'm going back.
Here's the problem. Doomsday Clock is taking so fucking long. I mean, it's I think by the time that the series is completely finished, it's going to be like 3 months between each issue.
Yeah,
as average. So if it had cut, they would have probably stayed closer to the plan and that's not their fault too in planning as far as the series is concerned, because it really should have been on track, but creators are weird, artists are really weird, and
I think it also has a lot to do with like the corporateness of it all, where they really wanted to get out a Batman-based crisis-like story with Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo,
right?
And that was, I don't think when Rebirth happened, if you recall this too, Pele, Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo had said in like Fat Man on Batman back in like 2015, we're like, we have a Justice League story that we're tossing around, we have a big Justice League story plan. And then the next thing that we got from them was Metal, so it was like, okay, that was probably what you had in mind, but that wasn't when Jeff Johns goes, okay, this is how we're going to fix DC Comics with this Rebirth. That that
Well,
Dark
we were
Knight
supposed
Metal,
to get. We were
Dark
supposed
Knight
to get
Metal
Justice.
wasn't in there.
We were supposed. I think that Justice League Dark was supposed to be that. After Justice League Dark wasn't supposed to come out until the end of Doomsday Clock. It wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to start until the end of Doomsday Clock, and it was going to start the new Dark Hour kind of, Dark Ascension storyline that was going to to kick that off, and you'd have a main character like Wonder Woman tied in that was going to bring that into the main storyline. But how late Doomsday Clock has been, they just like, oh fuck it, we got to get this out. We got to go ahead and get this started. So it's discontinuity, and that's the same thing. I'm not going to make excuses for DC anymore. Discontinuity has been the name of the game for them for ever since Rebirth has began. They can't get the creators online to form any form of continuity from title to title, and it's absolute, and it's editors being just complete idiots.
So I know, Ash, you wanted to address Jamal, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Hey,
I took off.
No, it's fine. Just wanted to...
Yeah, before we get too far off tangent, because now I got all these other thoughts in my head too. But first of all, I want to say I respect that Jamal has a different viewpoint, and I like when we can just not be an echo chamber and have different perspectives. I think that's good. No one's way is necessarily the right way. We're all opinions. So, but regarding the Wally West situation and the views that you've expressed, they're valid for sure, but I have to take a deference to him because in Rebirth, the one-shot Rebirth that launched the entire DC new continuity, it's established in that book alone. And I come from this as a really newbie. I did a whole video on this where I don't really know much about Wally West at all, but that one singular book establishes that this guy has been trapped in the Speed Force for years. Mm-hmm. He's only been in Rebirth for in comic time less than a year. Like, not that much time has actually happened since he's been pulled out of the Speed Force. Maybe a couple weeks, right? Like in comic time. So you're telling me that this character who's been alone, because no family, no friends, nothing in this Speed Force, thinking he's going to die, it's going to rip him apart sometime. He can't get out. And you see in that comic the turmoil he's having when he finds finally finds his wife, and she doesn't remember him. And he's just like, oh my God, none of my friends, nothing. But even at the very end, when he finally finds Barry, and at this point he's like, you know what? Barry's not going to remember me, but at least I can tell him something important. At least I can also tell him how much I loved him and thanked him for giving me the life that was the greatest life ever. They drive it home that this character is the symbol of hope. He's a hero. He never wavered. He's not sitting in the Speed Force going, man, I just want to die. I hate my life. He's not all emo. He's completely the opposite. And then Barry finds him, and you get this heart-wrenching moment, and Barry's like crying, and they're both crying. And he's like, oh my God, I can never forget you. And you're like, Jesus, this is one of the greatest comics I've ever read.
Right.
And then we fast forward to Heroes in Crisis, which in comics time is like, okay, maybe if I'm generous, it's a month later. And you're telling me now Barry, he's suffered all of that. And now he's like, man, it's not enough that I've got Barry. It's not enough that I've got my old friends. I don't have my family. And, other people don't feel like me, so that makes it really hard. But now, you know what? I'm going to go spy on them and be this weird creeper and dig into their personal files. Oh, wait, they do feel like me. Other people do feel like me. Well, that makes it even worse. And now I do want to be alone. Oh, yeah. Like, it's so antithetical to what they've established in one singular comic. I'm not a guy like Bats who's been following Wally West for 20 years. I'm a guy who came in, read one comic, and said, get me up to speed. What's going on? So they've completely and definitively drawn the line in an absolutely unmistakable fashion that what happens in Heroes in Crisis is absolutely antithetical to the character, much less just DC Comics in general. But furthermore, it doesn't make sense from a narrative standpoint. Why do you even bring Wally West back at all? If you're like, no, Wally West is a stupid character, we hate him, you may or may not agree with that opinion at all. Some people don't like Wally West and never wanted him back. That's fine. You can have that opinion.
Some people are of the opinion he's too much of a goody two shoes.
That's all irrelevant. The point is, if you think that way and you're in control of DC Comics, just don't bring him back. If you do bring him back and you tell this fantastic story about what a great hero he was and how loved he was and look at how awesome he is, then you don't do what Wes said in his review about sticking the middle finger. Oh, you liked all that? You liked how great Wally West was? Screw you. Watch what we do to him. And if it is Psycho Pirate, I don't buy that. That's not how you treat villains. That's not how you tell stories. If you want to tell a story about how Psycho Pirate messed someone up and it drove them to killing all their friends, you can tell that story. You don't tell that with The Flash. You don't have Joker infect Batman, and all of a sudden Batman's like, you know what? Joker won. I'm just going to start murdering people too because Joker got to me. You can do that in the Dark Multiverse, and you can do that with like fake heroes, which is what Metal did, which is what got me that idea. That works. But you don't ever do that with the real hero. The real heroes always triumph in that fashion. They may not, always win the battle, but they triumph over the evil influences. They don't succumb and become the villain in the way that Tom King did this story, especially when you've worked so hard to establish a narrative that's completely opposite.
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay, I want to make one point on this, and I want to talk to Pele or ask Pele about this. So I've noticed the last 3 issues at least, when you look at the solicits and what it says is in the book and what's in the book, they don't match up at all. Like the Trinity is supposed to be in issue 8. They're not in issue 8. All the stuff it says that, where it's basically has a little briefing of what the story is going to be, they don't match at all. So I'm thinking that a lot of this story of what King actually wrote isn't what we're getting now. Do you think is that likely?
Oh, I think it's not only likely. I think it's probable. I think it is what you're saying, because it's the same thing as with issue 50, Batman issue 50. He likes to say to subvert expectations and to pitch curveballs and like, oh, this is what I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to give you this over here, and it's gonna blow your mind, and I think that it's a habit with him. And the problem is you can throw curveballs at the readership during an issue and stuff like that, but don't do that to the retailers. We're the ones that have to decide on how much to order. We're the ones that have to decide, oh, this looks like it's going to be good. I'm going to get 40, 50 issues this month or this week. This kind of looks a little weak. I'm going to fulfill for my pull list, and I'm going to get, maybe a 10 extra, 15. And they're just not thinking in terms of LCS sales. And they're not thinking in terms of, places that are hanging on by their fingernails to survive. And I think it comes back to Tom King is not very bright.
Well, my point is, could this not actually all be Tom King? Could it be DC editorial and the leadership at DC taking his story that he had written and then changing it to something else halfway through?
I think that's what happened here.
I think that's what happened.
Because when I'm reading Heroes in Crisis and I'm reading like issues 6 and 7 and 8, those issues feel totally different from 2, 3, 4, and 5.
They don't make sense.
They don't make any sense. And then you're reading like dialogue from Harley Quinn where she's doing nursery rhymes, and then you have Booster Gold in there, and that part of the story makes no sense at all. So what I'm thinking probably happened, maybe Wally wasn't the killer, and maybe there was something else going on with the story, and DC has inserted these characters into it because all the other peripheral characters in the series are like no-name B-list characters.
Yeah. Well, I have to say one thing on behalf of that theory. If you do go back and look at the other issues, there are establishing things. Now it doesn't disprove 100 anything 100%, but like in issue 5 you can see you see a shadowy figure getting the rose out of the river.
And it's a red glove too.
Yeah, and like so there are different things like that in the book that do suggest that this is a planned out thing and not just at the end we just change. It doesn't prove anything. I think
it's been altered severely.
There could be alterations. I just want to make sure that all the information's out so we don't sound like a bunch of like we've addressed all angles.
Okay, so let's say instead of using Wally West, you use a character like New 52 Superman, who was in Sideways like the last 3 issues. And would that
that's the writers not reading frickin' Superman, because New 52 Superman doesn't exist. He's fused with Superman.
Died.
Well, he's in another dimension right now. But he's in another dimension right now, but he's not that version of the character is running around. But let's just say, okay, let's just generic superhero. If you put that character in the Wally West role that's in Heroes in Crisis, it changes the entire event, and then you don't get the backlash. I'm thinking that they put him in there just to sell more comics, and it's just backfired on DC.
Well, if they did it to sell more comics, then I can tell you that I've got a stack of the latest Heroes in Crisis at my shop to explain that did not happen.
Right.
And I placed those orders. I placed those orders a couple months ago because Heroes in Crisis number 3 and 2 and 3 were doing really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
I put my pre-orders in, and now it's like, oh shit! Well, I've got 25 copies here that I'm just going to be putting in the dollar bin, I guess, at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the customer backlash at the store, Pele?
Oh, it was, everybody's like, well, people saw it coming, and it's been a discussion. Wednesdays and Thursdays are like discussion time of what the hell is going on with Heroes in Crisis and Batman, and it's centered around.
Comes up every week.
Oh my God, it's like, what the hell is Tom King thinking? And
I say that every day on Twitter.
and we're just, and we're like, okay, it's almost like which I'm pointing at myself on this. It's like Trump apologists talking about 4D chess, and and I'm a Trump apologist. I'll put that right out there, and I think that he's probably got some plan. It may not be working exactly the way that he thinks it. He planned it would be, but he's got some kind of plan going on, and and he's thinking deep involved in this. And I think, and everybody's like, well, Tom King's got this plan, and and some people are going, well, we need to trust the plan, and other people are thinking, no, he's just an idiot, and he's buried himself over his head, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And I think the proof is in the pudding that he just doesn't know what he's doing. And editorial, has gone from bad to worse. And if it is the case where you're talking about where they changed Heroes in Crisis, and they changed from the main storyline, like Wes said, where they've kind of tweaked it here and they've altered the story to kind of suit a different narrative, that is that better? Is that better, than Tom King is just an idiot, and that he didn't know what he was doing? Because it still shows that DC doesn't understand these characters, and DC does not. They don't understand the characters as well as people that have, started reading the series, the various series, just 1 or 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like I've got an employee at my shop who's autistic. He has Asperger's. He's our inventory specialist, and he knows. I mean, the guy's read everything that DC has made since the Silver Age, and he can tell you what's on what panel in the Flash number 77. What's going on in that panel from memory. He's really crazy good. And his opinion on all this, because we talked about this, His opinion on this is that well, I think he said Tom King's a moron and the editors are morons.
I'm gonna buy this guy a beer.
Well, you're not allowed to make fun of the editors because they're women. So be careful.
he says that they're in over their heads. They don't know what they're doing, and they're just trying to be edgy shitheads. So they don't mind to trash everybody's. They don't mind trashing these characters with decades of history and all this, just so they can be edgy shock jock.
Well, yeah, the edgy thing to do is deconstruct the heroes. That's what they're doing.
Oh yeah. Because heroes and villains
seem edgy.
I mean, how long now have we seen that the villains are the heroes and the heroes are the villains? Harley Quinn is a mass murderer. She's a psychopathic killer, but no, she's a hero now. She's been
involved with many terrorist attacks on Gotham, with gas attacks and explosion attacks.
Make Quinn thought again. Okay, she's thought prime. Make her back to thought. That's what she
I want to hear what Jeremy's thoughts. He's been really quiet on this.
Go ahead.
Well, I didn't read Heroes in Crisis. I have a big hate boner for Tom King.
Outside of it, like, what's your thoughts on the?
It's a disaster. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to be a big fucking fuck up, and no one listened to me. So now look where we're at.
People are making memes about you, my friend. I saw the one with you slamming the dude in the locker.
That one?
I don't get memes made about me. Go ahead.
Because that guy was mad because I called Tom King King. He said you should have tagged him. Should have tagged Tom. That's called harassment, dude. I can't just do that.
Tom King's harassing us for freaking $12 a month.
Yeah, I bought Batman up to the wedding. I can make fun of Tom King as much as I fucking want to. All right.
I don't consider tagging. I don't consider tagging somebody as harassment unless you're like, say,
but people consider it
showering abuse.
Yeah, if I make fun of somebody and tag them, they're like, "Oh, what? It's harassment now."
You can also tape paper wings onto a frog and call it a bird, but that's not exactly what it is. It's still not. It's still not harassment. It's just criticism. And if we reached a point to where comic creators in general cannot take constructive criticism, polite constructive criticism, then
mine wasn't polite.
They really need it even more.
See, I should have tagged Tom anyway, since he has me blocked, because I told him I was really excited for the next Batman writer when he goes to do his screenwriting thing. So, should have tagged him.
So I want to get back onto the customer revolt thing that's happening. Yeah. Bats, I know. You have a video out. If you haven't watched Bat's video, I suggest you go to his Sergeant Bat's YouTube channel. Check it out. It's pretty raw. It's emotional. It's a lifelong fan of Wally West. Laying it all out there on how he feels about it. And you said you're done with DC for now. What's it going to take to bring you back? What's going to take for you to come back to DC Comics?
Tom King out of the company.
Totally.
Ooh.
Totally, yeah. Tom has to go.
Interesting.
And I was talking with Ash about this the other day. It's like, I work in a restaurant, so I'm going to use a restaurant analogy.
And you can take Bendis with him.
Yeah, take Bendis with him.
Because those two.
Okay, so.
Wilson, take her too.
There's this thing, you have your favorite restaurant in town, right? And then they get this new cook. And this new cook comes in and changes the menu, and you're like, "Hey, man, I've been a regular here at this restaurant for 20 years, and you don't put shit in this sandwich." You're like, "No, I'm the new cook. We're seasoning the hamburger with shit now," and I'm like,
"That doesn't sound good."
And you're like, "All right, I'm gonna give your shit a taste. I'm gonna give it a taste. I'll keep coming back every week until I don't like your shit anymore." And then he's like, "Oh, we've removed the hamburger entirely. We're not seasoning the hamburger with shit. Now it's just a shit sandwich. We don't need the hamburger anymore. Here's just the shit sandwich." And you're like, "Yeah, I don't like how this shit tastes. I'm not going to come back to this restaurant anymore." Harassment.
More like death threat. That's that.
Can we get on to the death threat here? I saw the.
Yeah.
I've never seen actual death threats, so until
No
I
one's
see the
ever
death
seen
threats,
actual
I don't
death.
believe that they happened. You know, I've seen too many SJWs
Someone
and
pulled a gun on a Photoshop black kid. All right,
you know
Tom King-
regressive
Oh, I mean-
idiots. Yeah, these regressive idiots who you know, oh, I've received death threats. I've not ever seen a legitimate death threat from anyone in the comic community sent to any of these creators. So until I actually see it, and not just, oh, here's my report, here's where I
Yeah,
reported it.
Tom won't show proof of the death threat, but he'll show proof of his report.
Just show the threat. You know, even take the guy's name out, whoever it was that sent it.
Yeah,
but just show the threat. You know,
Drag 'em
show
through
that
the
this
mud.
is legitimate. This is real. You know, show all of them, because apparently you've been getting dozens of them. Show the dozens of them in the big tile thing, you know, and you know, etch the person, you know, cover the person's name, and you know, and bring this forth as evidence, and I'll say, okay, I fully agree.
They show the names. I would denounce people.
I've gotten some death threats based on my political affiliation, as you could see in the back there. I've gotten a few death threats from people in my own town, and when that happens, I just drag them through the mud and I tag them, and I just, all right, you want to say crazy things like that? All right, it's on like Donkey Kong. I'm gonna have way more fun.
I can kind of see the point of view of not revealing the names, because then it's kind of like, you know,
you don't want to give
the
them
names of mass killers. You don't want to give them that
publicity.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean, either way. So my big thing with DC is that, like I was telling you, like I was just saying earlier, that they have not followed their word. They have not stood up to their word. I was pretty much at the point of going, all right, once New 52 ends, I'm out, because that's coming to an end, and they're like, Rebirth, and it's like, no, I'm not. No, you guys are you're just rehashing things you've already did. You did New 52, so now there's New 52. We did Flash and Green Lantern Rebirth. Now it's DC Rebirth, and I'm like, you know what? Nah, I'm not gonna do this. And then, you know, I watched all the San Diego Comic-Con panels, and you know, watching them, they got me pretty hyped for some books. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back to classic Sergeant Bats. I'm just gonna read Batman. I'm gonna read Nightwing, and I'm gonna read like Batgirl. And they didn't have Robin, so I'm gonna read Detective, because Detective's the Robin book. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go back to classic 1999 Robin or Bats here. And then over time, because I work in a shop, I started to just read all those Zero issues for fun, and I was like, oh, Red Hood and the Outlaws really good. This is really good. Ooh, Supergirl's really good. This is really good. This is really good. And I start stacking, building a big DC pull list. And, you know, this was all in kind of hopes of, we're going to get the Justice Society, we're going to get Legion, we're going to get, everything's going to be molded and fixed in its own tight little package of a new DC universe. And I was like, I'm fine with that. Yes, 2-year plan, cool. The first year is going to be a little more expensive than the next year, cool. And then now it's not that, and I find myself having $68 freaking weekly pull lists all the time, and 70 to 80% of it is DC, and it's because I feel pot committed, and a lot of it. I mean, I collect like 20 DC comics a month, and I only really like 5 of them, and it's sad. And it's like books that don't even matter really to most people, and that's Batman Beyond, Hawkman. I love Hawkman. You know, read Hawkman as actual hashtag.
Yeah, thanks, brother.
Yeah, you're welcome. So Batman Beyond, Hawkman, Silencer. What else? Detective. You know, no one cares about what's going on to Detective, because
no, it's a hot seller. It's a hot seller in my.
No one's talking about it, and it'd be hot selling. But
Arkham Knight.
Check out Freedom Fighters too. Freedom Fighters is great.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
and no one's talking about it. But except for Ash is the only person who ever talks about Freedom Fighters.
I'm sick of reading about Nazi stories all the fucking time. It gets old after a while.
Yeah, and it's just,
That's all it is, isn't it? Just Nazis took over America. Is that the plot? There's literally a show just on Amazon Prime I can watch right now.
Yeah, but it's like raw. It's like Age of Apocalypse, man. It's messed up.
Maybe give me 10 more years when I'm kind of like burnt out of whatever the next topic is. I'll go look at the early 2020
like,
Nazi era.
You know, but then they've managed to take all the characters that I like love. Like I love, like I could have done something more with my life than like just consume DC Comics, right? But they shot Nightwing in the head. They've deconstructed Batman into a beta male.
Joseph Cook.
They've made Superman the worst father on the planet after just making him a father. They've turned Wally West into a sociopath, and so it's like, if this is the direction of DC Comics, nice.
Crotch.
If this is the direction, if that's the direction of DC Comics,
he just wanted to show us his balls.
Yeah, I didn't see him. He must be small.
Whoops.
If this is the new direction, this is the rebirth or the deconstruction universe, I don't want to be a part of it. I'd rather just go screw off and go read something else. And on that note, go read Spawn. It's $2.99.
Yes, read Spawn.
I think the biggest problem with DC right now is just like, maybe it's because they pulled back on the number of books they're putting out. And I think that the horror writers and people like Tom King have like taken over, and it's like all of the solicits are like either extra dark or edgy, and not everybody's there for that. You know, like you got Deceased out there, you got Metal out there. I love Freedom Fighters, but it's like really dark. It's like, and then you have all of these events are like Heroes in Crisis. Everything is like dark, villain centric, and that's cool.
That's when they changed the trade dress. And they even said, we're going to take Rebirth off the covers and we're going to switch it to a new trade dress, and DC's going in a new direction. The new direction was to put their worst possible talent on their most important characters. You got Tom King on Batman. You got Brian Michael Bendis on all Superman. You got G. Willow Wilson, someone who hates American values, who's writing a character who left her homeland and adopted American values.
Right.
That hurts. I like Wonder Woman too.
What does that even mean? Where she's like, she adopted American values so much that she got involved in American politics to make even more of a difference other than hitting people with a golden rope, right? Yeah. And then they got a $1 billion movie, and they get someone like what's Kelly Sue DeConnick. They got their four characters. They got their 4 core characters with their worst possible talent on there. And even though Shazam did okay. They got freaking Jeff Johns on Shazam. They got Brian McVitie or Robert Venditti on Hawkman. Put him on Superman. Like, what is that?
I love it. He's got the talent.
Yeah.
Like, his Hal Jordan was awesome.
At least put Robert on one of the Superman books. Put him on action. There's no reason Bendis should be on both of them. I have no reprise from Bendis for Superman.
Dan Jurgens is writing Nightwing.
It's actually good though.
And I'm happy for it, but like, you put in 30 years in Superman. You created Booster Gold, and they're like, what are they doing with Booster Golds? They're making him a silly Billy douchebag. Like, no, we went through this whole Jeff Johns pickup, New 52 pickup to
well, to be fair, Booster Gold's always been a douchebag. But
but they fixed him. They fixed him. They fixed him before pre-Flashpoint, and then they Flashpointed him. And they got rid of him. They didn't do anything with him in New 52, and then they brought him back in Rebirth to put him in Heroes in Crisis.
I just remember his accidental breakdown in Batman, the whole time travel thing.
Yeah, they're like, all right, Tom King, here you go, have Booster Gold. It's like
Tom King's like, ooh, another character I can make
Dan
depressed.
Jurgens got to like make this character one of the key characters in the DC universe, and the whole shtick is he's the greatest hero you never heard of. Like,
you got a point there.
You know, yeah, the character who kept time traveling back to Barbara's apartment time after time after time to try to stop the Joker, to save Barbara, and it was just like, sorry, this is a fixed time in history. You can keep going back. You can keep going back. The Joker is going to keep paralyzing Barbara. And he kept going. He's like, I can change it. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. That's who Booster Gold is. And then we get him eating frickin' pie and fighting with Harley Quinn. It's like,
yeah.
And I mean, 8 months ago, you can scroll 8 months ago to my channel and go, it says Tom King hates DC Comics and I hate Tom King. And I was saying it from the get. This is going to be horrible. This is going to be super bad. And people like Ash on Comics, people like Tristan, and all these other people are like, give it a chance, Bats. Give it a chance. Give it a chance. Well, here we are now. Here we are now. But let me just wrap up. I gotta go. I gotta work. I gotta go make 300 burritos.
Nice.
There's no fixing this for me. There's no fixing this for me. Where I'm really, really concerned if I go read a Flash comic by Jeff Johns, that I'm gonna be retroactively going, you know what? This is where it gets to. This is what we have to get to. We get this. You know, when I see him saving people in a Jeff Johns run, that's what I get to. When I go read a Marv Wolfman Teen Titans comic, this is what I get to. This is the Last Jedi of DC Comics for me, where I'm like, I can't look at Skywalker now without picturing him drinking, green milk and going.
That's dripping out his chin.
Yeah, this is the Last Jedi of DC Comics for me, and it's like I don't want to give them my money. I'd rather give my money to the LCS, who has all this back inventory of 80s, 90s, 70s DC, even stuff.
Here's the problem, though. I'd say at least a third of my customers are cover buyers now for DC, so they're not even reading the contents.
And yeah,
I'm being honest here.
Knows that.
They're cover buyers. And it's like Batman, they buy cover A, cover B. Detective, they buy cover A, cover B. All these others. With the exception of Superman, for some reason nobody wants to buy Superman. I wonder why. But but they're cover buyers now, and the content is. I think it's one of the things that Zach DNC said. These are not comics that are written to be read by fans of DC. These are comics that are written to satisfy the writer's desire to shit on these characters and to.
We had a guy came in and he was bragging. He's like, "Oh, I got all this 9.8 blah 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 blah. I got this. I've never even read them." I was like, the book is in the name of the hobby, right? It's comic book collecting. Like a book, you're most to read it.
Well, I mean, that's why they buy two. That's why they buy two copies.
Yeah, but yeah, I got to skedaddle, guys. I've hogged the mic long enough. I gotta go.
Before we head out, where can people find you?
You can follow me on or subscribe to my channel on YouTube at Sergeant Bats. You can follow me on Twitter, harassing Tom King.
Nats, before you go, I just want to say I bought Spawn because of you. So
awesome.
You sold me on Spawn this
I bought Spawn because of Pele telling me it was $2.99. And I think I just found other books like Spawn and Turtles and other things too. Here, let me show you something really quick. So I'm old school, so I do like a little grocery list. This used to be filled to the bottom, and then it would go around because I would write, have DC titles in it. So this is my shopping list on here, and I have Hawkman 12 in there. That's the last DC comic I'm going to buy. That's new off the shelf. So
that hurts to hear.
That's rough, man.
All right, thanks, buddy. Definitely follow him on YouTube. Got a great channel, and thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your perspective, man.
Thank you. All right, peace out, guys.
See you, Bats.
All right, so who wants to talk some Heroes in Crisis next? Where does everyone think this is leaving? Is this going to tank the Leviathan event? Do you think that
definitely going to tank sales? I'll tell you that.
That's what I'm saying. Is it going to affect sales?
He already lost Bats. He just announced he's done. How many more people are going to be like him?
Right. That's a hell of an indictment right there.
It's not.
I want to say something, if I could.
It's not really going to affect the cover buyers. It's not going to affect the art buyers.
How many of those, though?
The story buyers, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Ash, what do you have to say, buddy?
Okay, so we've spent quite a bit talking about the Heroes in Crisis and what a travesty it is and how PO'd everyone is, and for the most part, and for good reasons. And that's all fine. Everyone should vent their anger, vent your frustrations, send letters. Someone in chat was saying I want to send a letter to DC, and I just want to address that real quick too. Is one of the big problems right now in comics is there's no avenue to communicate with these companies. They put a wall up, and you're like, do you even want customer feedback? Do you hear it? It's just they don't listen. But moving on, I also think it's important to hit the other side of the coin, right? We're talking about how much we hate Heroes in Crisis, and we're so mad at DC Comics and all these mistakes that they're doing, and they're totally legit. But while we're doing that, let's not lose sight of the good things too. I just did a video, plug myself again, shameless plug. I called it Comics in Crisis, and in that video I just kind of talk about my channel update. But in there I talk about there's good comics. Hawkman is amazing. There's what Tomasi is trying to do on Detective Comics. Jeff Johns, let's not forget Jeff Johns is currently writing 3 comics at DC. The Justice League comics might be the best that they've been in a long time. What they're doing over there is pretty fantastic. Some people really loving the Green Lantern Morrison thing. I know Morrison's kind of divisive, but he's a quality writer and he's got his fan base. And for people that like that, they have that. There's a lot of still good things. And I just wanted to take this time not to try to make, DC's great. It's but they are still doing good things. And I think it's fair and important to not just get lost in the well of negativity. It is all valid and they deserve the criticism, and fan backlash is important. And by all means, I'm the person I'm not in Bat's position where I'm just screw DC, but I am in the position of I will not buy another Tom King miniseries. I haven't jumped off of Batman yet because Batman, I've been collecting it for a while and it's Batman and I'm kind of hoping the ship will turn, or I don't know. It's just one of those collector mentalities, but I will not. If Tom King writes a miniseries on something, nope, not giving a dime. And that's the important thing we need to keep doing. We need to stop. Don't buy Aquaman. Don't buy Wonder Woman. Don't buy Superman. Don't buy these books and take your money and go, you know what? I'm going to go buy Hawkman. Because I'm sure most people I'm talking to right now that are hearing me aren't buying Hawkman. There's a few, but the sales are showing that mostly it's not. Heroes in Crisis is one of the top-selling comic books, even number 8. I just went over to Comixology, and I know it's not science on there, but on Comixology, it's the number 1 seller on Comixology. Now that doesn't translate to paper, I know, but
even more to make more books. So
people are buying it, and that's terrible. And as long as people keep buying these crap books, DC is going to keep publishing them, and we fans who appreciate quality are just going to keep bitching because we don't have control. We just want to see quality, and all we can do, I think the most powerful thing we can do is urge others. Look, please vote with your wallet, please. And voting with your wallet means 2 ways: revoking, you're not buying the shit. That's one part of it, but also diverting those funds that you would have given to something else so that they can succeed, because we need replacements. It's not enough to see Tom King books die. DC needs to see what replaces Tom King. You know,
well,
if we want Venditti to write Superman, we need Venditti to be a bestseller. So DC goes, oh, here's one of our best writers.
I'm looking at my stores. My stores. Oh, I was just going to say, point out. I'm looking at store orders. Let's see. It's Hawkman's Tide #9 in DC as far as sales. That's just my shop. You know, #9, and I ordered the same number of copies of Hawkman as I ordered for Silencer. And now Silencer's gone. Yeah.
How many New Age of Heroes are left? Is it 0?
Terrifics.
I wish I had Pele's shop with my LCS, because
down to 1.
It seems like his shop is like where all the like real fans are. Like
his pretty normie.
His reports of sales are so distorted on like what weird. I see outside like the normal national level. It's like, oh, you're a real comic fan? You shop at Pele's shop. Are you a normie like new school comic fan that likes all the silly Billy stuff? You shop at every other store.
Well, here's the thing: most of my customers are back issue buyers. You know, from the Bronze Age, Silver Age, Copper Age. You know, this is like 94 back. You know, from 94 back. You know, because like I said, 80%, 80% of my sales are back issues, because I converted over from new when I saw the shitstorm was coming. You know, I was like, the shop's not going to survive. You know, I'm going to have to prop it up for God knows how long, just to see if the see if I can write the ship.
Okay, just on back order or backloads for people buy the back ship.
Yeah, I could stop carrying new comics altogether and still cover payroll.
That makes me happy here. How many Funkos do you sell?
I don't sell toys.
Oh, I love your store already. My shop has like 1 million Funkos everywhere. It's like,
I still sell. I mean, we sell statues. I sell statues.
Those are cool.
Some sideshow stuff. Usually just limited stuff. And there's a few of them the Diamond has come out with now. They're about they retail for about $50. They've been blowouts.
I just keep hearing that Funko for the only thing that are saving shops, and it makes me happy to hear that's not entirely true.
But I don't sell pops. I do sell Magic. And it's been doing surprisingly well.
My shop does the Pokemon Magic thing too, but I don't know something.
We don't do Pokemon. I just do Magic. But Magic, some good statues, toys as far as the really good toys, not pops and shit like that. I mean, if you love pops, people like pops, that's fine. But there's other places to get pops. You know, I don't have the floor space for all that. You know, I barely have enough floor space for my back issue comics. So, you know, but yeah, if I stopped carrying new comics altogether, we would be fine. You know, it only represents about 15% of sales, if that. So
if you can afford to not buy Superman, that's ridiculous to me. Not having Superman on the shelf, that's just such a weird era that we're in right now.
The last person pulled it from their pull list.
What are you gonna do?
We had like 6 people, and like all 6 of them, almost all 6, like 5 of them, were standing there together talking about this, and like, fuck it, we're done. And they, yeah, I'm done. I'm done too. Screw this. We're tired of Bendis. Fuck it. You know, and I was like, and they're like, just take us off of it.
Could you imagine how this as an experiment, just put someone on Action, just anybody, and just see? I bet sales would just fly. I'd buy it. If another name was on Action, I would just. Well, I don't care. What number? I don't give a fuck. Just gonna grab it. Jumping on point. Whatever new writer is on Action.
It doesn't make any sense to have Bendis do both books. If Bendis can write 2 Superman books, just make Superman bi-weekly.
It almost like, where's the variation? Like, why even have an Action
twice a month? Don't tie up two. The whole purpose of having 2 different titles is to have different, artistic visions of the book. If it's going to be the same writer, just make it the same book and just release it twice as often.
Been in a situation like that? This seems really unique to Bendis. Like, why does Bendis get this special treatment all the time? This irritates the shit out of me. He seems to be able to do whatever he wants, just whatever. Yeah. I don't get it.
He has this monolithic reputation that if it's Bendis, it's good. But what the fuck has he really
It's
done?
so weird. Are you listening to your customers? It seems like that's just an industry thing. Oh, we love Bendis here, but in sales,
well, they don't listen to the customers because they got, they have half of them. They have half of them blocked on Twitter. So
it's hard to listen to that block.
When you got your customer base blocked on Twitter, it doesn't really say that you really have customer service in mind, as far as actually listening to constructive criticism. So, there is nothing constructive about criticism in their eyes.
I'm very curious to know if there's any shops like yours, Paley, that have just like either limited to very, very few Superman or none at all. That is extraordinary to me.
Well, here's what's so bad about it. I'll just make this one point real quick.
Yep.
The last subscriber to Superman was my dad. My dad had been reading Superman since he was in Korea in 1967. All of his family got sent to Vietnam. He got sent to Korea. And because he actually enlisted. He wasn't drafted. He enlisted. So they're like, oh, well, we'll cut you a break. We'll send you to Korea. So he'd been reading Superman since he'd been in Korea, and collecting comics at the time. He was a Marvel guy, but then he went to DC so he could read Superman and stuff like that. Anyway, unimportant. All this time, unbroken collection of Superman, all the way up to now, and he's like, I don't like it anymore. I can't read this. And he's like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't like this Bendis guy. What is he doing to Superman? What's he doing to the family? What's he doing to, why is Lois behaving like this? That's his wife. Why don't he put his foot down? I don't understand what's going on. Why is he letting his preteen son go running off with his granddad?
The happy-go-lucky guy I loved in Super Sons.
I'm just explaining the conversation as far as my dad was concerned. And he's like, this doesn't make any sense, and I just don't want it anymore. He says, I said, okay, fine. And that was the last one. Boom. And I was like, I could get them for the shelf. I could order like I could, get them for the shelf, just so I could say, I'm still carrying Superman. But I was like, I'm going to make a statement on this, and I just don't order it. It's the second month in a row, no orders, and for Superman.
No one's going, hey man, I'm trying to get Superman. I don't see no one's coming up to you.
No, nobody's asked for it.
What about Action?
Single person.
How many Actions you selling?
Oh, I still carry Action. There's people that are interested in Action. I still have half a dozen people that are still getting Action, but I think that the discontinuing Superman was just a protest. It was like they said, those guys got together and like say, fuck this. We're done with this. Superman's just completely.
Those are your customers, man. You did the right choice. What are you going to do? Yeah.
I'm guessing with those Action comics, it's just like longtime collectors who are just trying to ride out the storm.
Because it's an unbroken series that's 1011, 12, 13, 14. And there's still, these are people that have been collecting, Action since the 400s, the 300s, 200s.
Those are some good Action, man. Really good Action.
And it's and when these people that are that diehard about this, just say no more. What am I going to do? I'm not going to hold a gun to their head and say, "Oh, you have to keep buying Superman." It'll get better. I swear to God. You got to keep buying it. But it's. So I just stopped buying it, and I wrote a really nice, constructive, not in any way aggressive, honestly, not in any way aggressive letter explaining to DC, the editors, to the people, to Jeff Johns. Sorry, I'm getting a little upset about this. But anyway, I wrote the email and wrote the letter. And said, I'm not ordering it anymore. Not ordering Superman anymore. It's just, nobody wants it. What can we do about this? And no reply. No reply yet. We'll see.
Your letter just went into a pile of other constructive letters. Like,
It's sad that they don't get back to you. obviously it sucks that your dad was the last customer that even wanted it. Even him as someone that's been reading it for over 50 years decided it just wasn't worth it anymore. So I want to wrap up the Heroes in Crisis part, and I want to end on something more positive. So Jamal, do you have anything else to say about Heroes in Crisis before we wrap this up?
Not really. I mean, I'm not really a fan of the series. I just thought this issue wasn't bad. I'm curious to see how it ends. I don't think I don't think Tom is gonna be able to wrap this up in 22 issues, and I just don't know what he's gonna do. I really would hate if he actually killed off Wally West. That would be very unfortunate.
Okay.
It seems like that's where he's going.
Waiting for number 9 to be the "It's All But a Dream" issue.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I think whatever's gonna happen is gonna be what it is. But I hope he doesn't go that route.
Just think about this. I was thinking about this the other day. Wally is in a cycle now of continually dying because he went 5 days in the future, killed himself, took the body in the past, planted it, and now that Wally that finds it or whatever is going to go 5 days in the future and kill him. And as he gets that 5 days, then the past Wally comes and kills him, and then goes back 5 days. It just over and over. This Wally's just dying over and over and over and over.
DC Comics is the original Groundhog's Day. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Take that, Wally West fans.
Editorial at DC they just need to do a better job in planning the stuff out, and they can't be all dark and hopeless. It's not a good business model.
It's like what Bats was saying. You can't have you got to have a goofy character once in a while. It's great. I think Booster Gold needs to be goofy.
If you're going to do dark and hopeless, you do it with the right characters, right?
Or in Elseworlds.
Yeah, you've got. Remember what Vertigo used to be? That was like the dark and hopeless stuff. Like you had all these avenues of handling things correctly.
Yeah,
I side actually with Jamal. I actually said that this Heroes in Crisis number 8 was the second best of the series from a strictly story standpoint. If I erased and this wasn't Wally West and these were just random characters I didn't know, there was some story merits in there. But once you say, okay, well, this is Wally West, this is Batman, this is you're like, oh, wait a second, what? This doesn't make any sense,
right?
So you're basically saying then that this would be objectively good if it weren't but the problem is Tom.
I wouldn't
King
say objectively good. I'd say it had some merit.
Objectively has some merit, but the problem is Tom King has no emotional connection to these characters.
Yeah, I accused him of being a poor caretaker of the characters.
Yeah, I think if DC would have came out and said, "Hey, I don't think we should use Wally West in this way," I think that the story would have been 100% better.
Here's a question: is Tom King a psychopath or a sociopath?
No,
dude, I have serious.
I'm not saying.
Don't put that in my head. I might run with that one. Don't do that.
I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying that. Oh my God. I'm just saying it's a question.
So that will appease the YouTube lawyers. Good time.
I believe that writers write what they know, and after seeing the patterns, I mean, you look, Miracle Man, Heroes in Crisis, what's currently going on in Batman. There's similarities, like it's too much similarities to ignore completely and go, oh, whatever, it's just coincidence. No, he's writing the same things over and over, and it's getting worse and worse. I honestly, when I read this stuff, I'm like, I fear for this guy. He needs to talk to somebody. Like, there's some darkness going on in his mind, and I don't begrudge him of that. Like, people go through shit, and look, get help, please. Like, find family, find people that love you or whatever. Like, talk to a professional. I see fans making fun all the time, like, oh, Tom King's using the book to get, as his therapy. Maybe he is, but if he is, that's a problem. Like, we can joke about it on the side, but I do worry because it's prolific.
Well, it's a very poor excuse for therapy, if he is. And
I'm sure.
That's why I'm saying. Then I planned this out. I wanted to, I was thinking about what kind of gotcha can I put into the show this week, but and then but really, honestly, and I'm not saying, I know about YouTube, YouTube pull this, oh my God, they're saying he is. I'm not saying he is. I'm just asking the question based on what we've seen as far as the pattern that he's shown in previous storylines, Mr. Miracle, Batman, Flash, is he kind of teetering on a knife edge here, or and people that are sociopaths or have psychopathic tendencies, don't have that emotional connective tissue with the things that they interact with. So
well, if you read Heroes in Crisis 8, and I'll be fair, it's very emotional. Like when Wally West is explaining how he feels and everyone else is getting better, but I don't get any help, and I feel so isolated and alone. I mean, there's a lot of emotion in there. He's not devoid of feeling with his writing. He actually generates a lot of feeling, probably too much because of what he ends up doing with the character. So I feel bad for Tom King. I think he's I don't know if he's in a dark place, but he's certainly in a dark place creatively. And I hope it gets better because he was in a great place 12 months ago. Mr. Miracle was on fire. Everyone was excited for the wedding. And, and in the last 12 months, it seems like everything he's written is kind of falling apart.
Did he set himself up for failure? Did he set himself up for failure because he was scared of success?
Did his editors do it?
Yeah.
I think Tom King's in a place where he doesn't understand he's failing. And he's surrounded by people who are probably telling him, "Oh, you're great. Your sales are the best. Batman's the number one." Like, he's living in a delusion as far as his career's going. So, from his perspective, when he sees a fan or something say, "Oh, your work is shitty," he's just looking at it as like, "Oh, that's just some hater doesn't understand. I'm Tom King, and my shit's great because my editors everyone's telling me I'm great." And that's what's bad too. Like that's on DC and that's editorial. And I wanted to say something real quick too about touching on the darkness and is Tom King messed up in the head? I don't know. But one of the darkest books I've ever read, I like dark books, is the original Crow by James O'Barr. Came out back in the 80s. I know probably everyone's seen the movie, but that book is dark. It goes into like
Caliber Comics.
And James O'Barr talks about it. If you ever read like interviews and stuff with him, like he was in a massively dark place, and it shows in that book. And when I read Heroes in Crisis number 8, it makes me reflect on that, and I think, wow, this is how you view people that are going through PTSD. Like you're writing what you know. So if you think that someone is going through what Wally West is going through, does what Wally West does, that makes me scared for you because people don't do that. But that's telling me Tom King's perspective of the world. I mean, people do that, but they're not. Those are the people that really need help. That tells me that Tom King might need help because he didn't tell a story where Wally West dealt with all this and then overcame it and we're like, yay, triumph. He tells a story of this completely broke him, turned him into a sociopath, framed his friends, then went to the future and killed himself. Like, this guy just went completely off the rails. And I'm just like, geez, Tom, is that your view of the world?
Well, when I was reading that, and I'm sorry.
No, go for it, man.
No, go ahead.
Oh, when I was reading Heroes in Crisis number 8, what I thought about was the first blood, Rambo, and how in the original cut of the movie he lost at the end of it. He lost it and ended up being killed because he was broken. And that was part of the reason why when I went back and read the issue again, I was like, okay, well, I don't like this, but I understand what Tom is going for. And he was in the CIA, and he's probably seen a lot of shit, from his perspective, and he's just putting that on paper. I think the biggest problem with Tom King right now is we're getting too much of him. And the line is just in a bad headspace. It's not just him. Editorial is just thinking that this is the way to go. And the line is imbalanced. Plus, they're cutting back, so you don't have as many creators and you don't have as many voices on these DC books. So it just seems like you're getting a lot of crap that people don't like. And there's no promotion. So you don't really hear anybody talking about Robert Venditti or what's going on in some of these other books. It's just, you have these names, but we're burnt out on them because they're in a bad spot. I don't know what the hell's going on with Tom King, but the writing's not bad. It's just we're getting too much of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, the writing is bad too. Issues 6 and 7 were the most pretentious drivel I've ever read in comics.
Better if Tom King wasn't on Batman. Maybe if he was just focusing just on that mini.
I think so. I think it would have been better if he was doing Batman twice monthly.
King, I'd feel better about it. But all right, he was Grace is okay.
Yeah. So I just want to
think that he just sort of. Do you think he kind of painted himself into a corner then, and just didn't know any other way out?
I don't know what's going on with editorial, but when I'm reading this book, it's not a 9-issue miniseries. It's 4 or 5 issues at best.
Mm-hmm.
And the last 2 issues have been a lot better than the first 6.
So Tom King trope, his miniseries should be a lot shorter, because Mr. Miracle should have been like 4 or 5 issues too.
Same thing. Yeah, the same thing. But it's not just him. It's just like you have Doomsday Clock, and I like Doomsday Clock, but is it really 12 issues?
I think everyone that's even interested, like I would want to read it, but it's gonna take so long. I'm just gonna buy the trade, and I'm a huge floppy guy. I'm not buying Doomsday Clock. It's just too much work for it.
Okay, guys, I just we're gonna put a wrap on the Heroes in Crisis thing. I just want to put out that I was in the military for 20 years, almost the entire time of my service. We were in war, so I supervised, and I led a lot of people that I would send them off to Iraq. I'd send them off to Afghanistan, other parts of the world. I did 12 months in Afghanistan myself. I've dealt with people with PTSD. It's very serious. I feel bad for Tom if he's going through that. I don't wish ill on him on a personal level at all. I want him to succeed as a writer. I wanted him to come out of this dark place that he's in right now, because I don't think it serves him very well, and I don't think it serves DC very well, and it definitely doesn't serve the readers well. So I'm rooting for Tom. I hope he turns it around. I want him to be successful, but I don't think he will be successful doing this. And if he needs help, I hope he goes out and finds it. PTSD and other combat stress-related illnesses are very serious. I'm very sensitive to them, with all my experience and the people that, I've supervised and led. So I'm rooting for him. I hope it works out for him in the end. I don't like Heroes in Crisis 8. I don't like the series as a whole. And I don't like Batman. That's my bow on it. So now let's talk about something a little bit happier. I've been reading Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder in Hell. I'm very impressed with the series. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batman's coming back for its 3rd arc. And I'm about to jump out of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And we have, as far as I know, one of the biggest Turtles fans, in the world. So Jamal, what's the state of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for readers right now?
It's really great. Like the new series had launched back in 2011, and it's been mainly written by Tom Waltz. He's been running that ship, and I got on it pretty late, but I picked up on it around issue 50. Well, actually, I'm going to say issue 44. There was a big event that happened where Donatello, one of the turtles, had got critically injured, and it was like the last time I heard anybody talking about the series. But since then, I've been hooked. There's a lot of character development. There's way more character development than you would expect for the series. The writing is consistent. The art is consistent. The editorial is tight. The continuity is tight. It's like every problem that I have with the mainstream books is not in this line.
Mm-hmm.
It's not there. And even when they have a miniseries, the miniseries tie back to the main series. So it's not like they're just making books to be making it, like you see a lot at DC and Marvel. So it's one of the shining books that I'm reading. The entire line is tight. Even they had a micro series. They release micro series from time to time where they focus on one character, like Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, Raphael, even the villains. And what will happen is you'll have somebody that cares about the character, actually telling stories about the characters, and it ties back and it makes the entire line better. So it's not just like you're reading a book, just some random stuff that just got put together. And Shredder in Hell is just amazing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Mateus, I think it's Stantaluco. Yeah. I didn't even know he was a writer, and he's drawing it. He's writing it, and I'm reading it like, damn, this is just lit. And I'm not really up on Shredder's backstory, but it makes you want to go back and read the other stuff that's on him, because there's a lot of elements put here that weren't that you don't get enough time for in the main series. You just know that he's badass, but when you read Shredder in Hell, it's like, wow, there's a lot more going on with this guy than what I expected.
There's specifically a micro series about Shredder that ties directly into Shredder in Hell, and also the secret history of the Foot Clan.
Yeah,
if you want some more perspective on Shredder in Hell, that's
I think it's like the third week in a row, Wes, you've recommended this. I really need to just jump in.
You should. It's like one of the best illustrated books I've ever seen.
In the background. Oh, here, can't see it, but I got that T-shirt right there. I need to just jump in. It's one of those things where you're kind of worried, like, I'm gonna need to buy a bunch of old back issues to get it. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna.
I think it's on issue 3, right?
To be frank with you, if you're gonna go back to get anybody's back issues, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is probably one of the best to do so. As far as from a collectability standpoint, because oh my God, I cannot keep a first print of 1 through 20 of the original Turtles series to save my fucking life. You know, it's like, get them in, put it up on the wall, boom. 8 to 12 hours later, usually it's gone if I have it priced anywhere close to book value.
I see it all the time. I don't know why I just don't just get it. Just grab it. I don't know. I'm just going to start doing that now. If I see TMT, I'm just going to just grab it. Fuck it.
Just grab it.
It makes me a little uncomfortable, or like, is it going to be weird? I don't care anymore.
Grab the first arc and just go in with both feet, man. You'll love it. You'll love it.
So yeah, that's what I've been hearing. Some of you may know. Oh man, what's Tim Lim's writing partner? He goes by Pele Creepy on Twitter.
Is it
Mark Pellegrini?
Yeah,
Pellegrini.
I watched him on a live stream with Professor Geek, and he was talking about IDW has Ghostbusters, and he was saying Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is completely unlocked. He's like, the continuity is perfect. He's like, you got to read it. They really because IDW has a bit of a reputation, but apparently Turtles bucks that trend, and it's just a really well produced series.
Yeah, it flies way under the radar and gets no attention. Like you'll hear like G.I. Joe and the Transformers all the time, but the Ninja Turtles line has been like the ship is like this is.
Yeah, I hear more about Ghostbusters than anything. I hear that all the time.
And it's
look like shit. I won't buy it. It looks terrible.
Yeah. I can't even look at.
I'm just gonna do it.
What impresses me is that Eastman himself is still involved, and I'm guessing that's probably why that quality is there, and they're more caring in the books because you have the original creator right there. It's not just some hokey guys going, "Oh, we got a licensed book. We're gonna, do." It's like this is probably a passion. I mean, I'm sure Eastman really cares about the Turtles.
Yes, he does.
It's owned by Nickelodeon, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
don't think they have much influence on the series though.
No, yeah, it's Eastman does all the stories, and then he has a writer that does like the dialogue and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he plots the series from what I understand. I don't have a lot of customers that read Turtles.
My bad. Sorry, my bad. I'm tired of Metal Gear on the screen.
I don't have a lot of customers that read Turtles, but the ones I do are extremely dedicated. So it's like
I've heard some of the old Mirage or Mirror. What was it called? Mirage Comics, the old stuff. And that was great. I need to start. I just need to jump back into it.
Yeah, if
Mirage
you like
Studios.
Mirage stuff, you like this. You really would.
I need to. I don't know why I'm being pussyfooted about it. Fuck it, not anymore.
So
yeah, I think. Go ahead.
Go. So Jamal, like for people that maybe they haven't ever read a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic, kind of like myself, I'm really new to this. What would you compare it to? Is it like the original cartoon that caught hot fire back in the day? Is it more like the movies? Are any of those more of an influence, or is it's just its own thing?
Okay, so it would be more, in my opinion, it's probably closer to the first movie and the Mirage comics, but it's been updated to where some of the backstory makes a little bit more sense for the Turtles. And this, I don't want to give away too many spoilers if you haven't read it at all, but in this case, they're all reincarnated. The Turtles, Splinter, and Shredder, they're all reincarnated from past versions of themselves when they were all human initially.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it wasn't the ooze.
It wasn't like it is the ooze. It's complicated.
So they're human, so it's not like they're, because I mean they were turtles. Daredevil helped with that. He mutated those turtles.
They were reincarnated into these turtles.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So it's different, and it's not
Matt Murdock saving some guy, and then the van spilled over.
I mean, it's not.
That's not official. Okay.
The backstory is actually similar to the 2016 movie, except they left out the reincarnation part.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, the live action one? I did not see that.
Yeah,
I like that movie.
Well, it wasn't much because I hate turtles. It was because I hate Michael Bay, and it looked just like every Transformer movie. Like the way it's shot, everything
turned me off.
Like Transformers, just change the mechanical beasts with CGI turtles, and then look exactly the same.
Yeah, there was basically just some smart changes here and there to make the story make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys ever watch the 2003 cartoon series? Not the 1980s. That was like the second series of the cartoons.
The Nickelodeon
did a great job mimicking the comics. It mimicked the comics. It was awesome.
Yeah,
great, underrated. Everyone should watch that one. The 80s stuff is great. It's really, really cheesecakey. But that 2003 series is ooh.
I just couldn't get. I didn't like the art style, but it was the show. The content was pretty good.
I think I was originally turned off because of the art style, and I was like, I'll give it a try, and I loved it.
So if
Hey,
there's
real
like
quick.
Okay, what's up, Ash?
Real quick, just wanted to say that Sergeant Bats chimed in on the chat for anyone who's not watching the chat, but just listening to the broadcast. That volumes 1 through 8 of the IDW TMNT run are available on Comixology Unlimited. If you're a subscriber like me, it's like $5.99 a month. You get access to all these books and stuff. So that's a lot of Turtles.
Yeah.
If you're someone who's like, oh, this sounds interesting, I want to catch up. Like myself, I'm like, oh, maybe I will go check it out because I used to love Turtles, but I've been away for so long.
One of the things that got me from the very first arc, and I'll just put this out there, was that the Turtles weren't all raised together in this series.
Interesting. I read that in this last book with Raphael.
Yeah,
so what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, so Raphael was raised by an evil mutated cat that abused him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so and then the other turtles spend the first arc trying to find him, and they have no idea like what his personality is like, who he is, or anything like that. They don't know what the hell he's been through. And this
so they're not raised together, but they know to find him.
Well, so Splinter, they know they have a brother, but he wasn't raised with them. He wasn't raised with them. So this leads to why Ralph is isolated and why he's different from the other turtles, because he's been on his own. So it's like I said, smart changes here and there to make some of the other iterations of the characters seem a little bit better, make more sense.
Okay, I appreciate that because I was pretty confused. I'm about halfway through.
Yeah. And another thing is like the first, like you normally hear Leonardo and Raphael fighting, all the time. But when they first get into it, it's Leonardo and Donatello getting into fights and shit, because Donatello looks down on the rest of the turtles because he's smarter than them. Mm-hmm. And Leonardo's like, he's like, well, we can't, we have to follow our father. And Donatello's like, man, F that, man. This doesn't make any sense. Like, you really want me to believe that we're reincarnated?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a great series.
So now I'm just regretting I didn't jump in. I feel like I'm mad at past Jeremy every time he saw it on the shelf and went,
you bought Batman all the way up to the wedding and you didn't get it on TMNT?
I know.
Yeah.
Then I got a little pissy about Comics Around. I was just buying back issues, but TMNT, I'm jumping on. Get on the Turtles train. I fucking love those guys. I don't know why I'm not doing it.
It's one of the bright shining stars in comics, man.
Goddamn comics. Fuck you, Street. Was my shit.
That's what the stream is for, man. There's a lot of shit out there. We got to tell you about what's good. That's why we're talking about TMNT right now.
Yeah, and Tom Walsh is really good on social media too. He doesn't get a lot of attention, but he's really good on social media. He's a vet and everything.
Who was it again?
Tom Walsh. He does most of the writing on the series. He's really good guy.
Interacting, good guy. That's what I want to see from writers. If you see anyone giving you any weird clout, just Brush it off. Fuck it. What are they gonna do? Some Twitter guy only focus on the good stuff. I say that about Garth Nix all the time. I've never seen him get in Twitter fights. I've never seen him push his politics. He's always like, I wrote a thing. You want to read it? Hey, Garth, that's really cool, dude. That's all I like about him.
Well, I mean, you have too many. It kind of gets back to the DC thing. You've got too many creators out there that their politics is more important to them than their creative storytelling.
I don't get it that we need both sides of the political spectrum to come together. Like, you don't just need to push one. Just push your stuff. Just push your books. That's all you gotta do. Don't even have to talk about your politics.
I know.
Everything's under the rug. Who gives a shit?
So in the chats, I see Ash claims that he's a turtle purist. Does that mean that the new reincarnated turtles isn't going to work for you, brother?
You know, I'm willing to give things a chance. My policy is always, if you're going to change things, it better be really good, you know. And I will give a creator a chance to win me over, but on the surface, it sounds kind of like because I'm so attached to that Frank Miller homage that the original Origin has, which for people who may not be a fan, is like 30 years ago, right? Like people that don't know, the original Origin is the exact same scene that Matt Murdock gets his powers, and instead the camera diverges away from Matt Murdock into the scene where the turtles get infected. And if you've seen the movie, you get a bit of it, but I loved how they tied that in because the creators were big fans of Frank Miller, and so that instead of the hand, you have the foot and all that, etc. So I'm like really, and I'm a huge Frank Miller guy too. So I mean, all that's kind of like embedded into my DNA. But you know, I also love the Nolan Batman, which diverges so much from the Batman stuff. So I can't accept something new if it's good. And I love the enthusiasm that I'm hearing from.
Hey, I just wanted to pop in real quick. Everyone should be reading the IDW Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's freaking fantastic. It's the best way to describe it. I think Jamal kind of missed the mark on it, and it's not a knock on him, but it's literally, if you like, I only like the Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird stuff. That's something there for you. If you're like, I only know Turtles from the '87 cartoon, there's something there for you. I only know 2003 Turtles, there's something there for you. If it's Turtles as a whole franchise, where IDW Turtles kind of pulls pieces from all of the Turtles history and kind of makes it one nice, clean, nice package.
Into the Turtles.
Jeff Loeb type thing?
It's kind of like a big love letter to the entire franchise of Turtles. So that's the best way I could describe it. I just wanted to pop on and just kind of like say how much I love the Turtles. And I have 25 of the IDW graphic novels. That's how good the series is. And I only stopped collecting them because Rebirth got in the way. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, oh man, I can't afford a $20 graphic novel every 2 weeks now because I'm buying this many more DC titles. Because the New 52, I was only collecting like 10 DC books, and now I'm collecting like 20, 30 DC books a month. Well, not anymore, but so yeah, I'm jumping back into Turtles. So I just wanted to say that I'm on my way to work. So I was listening to the chat, and I was like, no one's listening to me. I gotta say something. I gotta pop back in real quick. So yeah, I'm off to work, guys. Peace.
All right, later, bro.
I personally have to ignore the fact that there's a chat. I always have to forget that there's people watching me drink coffee and say the fuck word a lot. Freaks me out.
It's been a pretty good. We've actually had a lot of people on here.
Just finishing up my my point. When I said I was a pure, I just didn't like the cartoons. They really destroyed the Turtles for me. So I'm really interested to hear what you guys are all been telling me and Jamal talking about in Bats about the new IDW series. I don't like IDW as a company, so I've always been like kind of scared. But I think I'm going to check out those the Comicsology books. I got 8 volumes I can go through. That's just a perfect opportunity.
Just check it out, man. It's pretty good. Like even the goofy stuff makes more sense on in the line, just like Bebop and Rocksteady. In the cartoon, they suck. Like they really just dumb villains, and there's dumb villains in the book, but they're so big and powerful that none of the turtles can take them on one-on-one. Like even Leonardo, he's not going to be able to do it. And when one of the turtles do run into Bebop and Rocksteady, it ends badly.
So I like that.
I'm leaving right now to the comic shop. I'm fucking waiting for it.
So I got Comixology on Unlimited. I'm definitely going to be reading at least the first 2 volumes just to see if it's my flavor. But I got a good feeling about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well, you like Shredder and Hell a lot.
I love it.
At least the third brought it up.
It's awesome. It's one of the best books out there. I can't believe people aren't reading it. Although I do want to point out,
thing kind of slows people down. I think that's about all that's really happening.
I do have some hope in humanity because I looked at the March numbers, and the 10th highest selling book by dollars shipped was Spider-Man Life Story #1. Didn't expect that.
Do you expect a Spider-Man book to be #1?
Not Life Story by Chip Zdarsky.
Okay.
But it actually got in the top 10. So people are buying good books when they're out there. So that was good to see.
So what we got to do, I guess, talk about the good books like you're saying.
Well, it also is Spider-Man. There's like 12 Spider-Man books. Apparently everyone buys Spider-Man all the time.
Ugh.
Yeah, I thought it would get lost in the shuffle.
Spider books. I gotta where's the book I want? Where's Spawn? I had to find Spawn. There's so many fucking S books. Here it is. Took forever. Too many S books out there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so does anyone have anything else to say about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles before we just finish her up?
Nope. I'm good.
All right, I think we said our piece. So right now we're going to do our weekly comic book recommendations. First, Jeremy, what's your recommendations this week?
Other than, let's see, I got them right here. I'm going to go Spawn and Detective today. Because I read 101. I thought 101 was great, guys. And I was one shitting on Arkham Knight. I'm like, this is pretty cool. I'm going to check it out. Ash was telling me Devossy's doing a good job, and I have a feeling he's right. Ash, you're right. I'm going to check it out. I'm pretty happy. Get my Batman fix. I'm feeling good about that.
That is definitely the superior book.
It's just, I don't know, just Batman. Give me that. I'm so thirsty for it. Maybe I'm at that mediocre stage where even that's all right. And I finally found some dice, Wes, because of you, buddy.
Yeah.
Or dice, sorry. Well, I guess it's dice, but I'm holding both of them. But I only got the 4th printing of #2, because that's what was that. Oh my God, 4th printing, right? 3rd printing of #3, and I guess #5 was the new one. So I'm missing 1 and 4.
Did you open it up and look at that art?
Yeah, I thumbed through the 5th one, but I don't want to read it yet.
So, I
want to read #1 and 2. I want to get #1 first. I'll get it. I'll find it.
On a dice, #1 is, let's see, #1's hit $45. First print, #1 first print's hit $45 now at my shop. It is. I cannot keep them. They are flying out of the door.
Well, personally, I don't really care what printing it is. That's not my. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about for people that are interested as far as the collecting, as far as collecting original prints is concerned. They're really amazing. It's been like almost immortal.
I'm still
levels
Mighty Morphin. I know Pat says it's not as good, but I don't know. These covers are just, I can't. There's my boy Andros right there, so I can't. I have to get him. I don't know. It's the only book.
But are you reading them, Jeremy?
I'm reading them. Oh yeah.
Marguerite Bennett is your cup of tea.
They're okay. They're just. Old Ned Go-Go way better.
He's hanging on.
It's Andros. I'm a fanboy for that guy. He's the reason I'm even like Power Rangers. He's the reason I even grew my hair out. Let's put it that way.
Awesome. Okay, so those are Jeremy's recommendations this week. Ash, what are your recommendations this week, buddy?
Oh man.
No Hawkman this week, buddy.
Oh no.
There's no Hawkman this week. It's a bummer.
I am getting it though. Now, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a sad point right now in comics. Detective Comics 1002 came out this past week. That's probably my recommendation. And for the upcoming week, there's just, I guess Justice League looks like the best book. The DC canceled all the good books. Silencer got canceled. Damage got canceled. It's hard to recommend stuff right now. I'm hoping for some new things, but I would say Detective. Pick up Detective Comics. It's the perfect time to jump in. 1001. It's like a number one.
I'm gonna start calling it 02 and 01 because like we're over that benchmark. I guess it's on the car, the mileage. We're on number one.
You're probably
perfect jumping on point. There's no excuse. There's a new king in town. So I always keep saying.
If you're getting on 1001, if you go to local shops, you're probably going to end up spending a little bit more than cover price for it, but it's definitely worth it. So,
yeah, that was a good issue. So, what's up?
Go ahead.
I just said I liked it.
Oh yeah, okay.
My bad.
So Jamal, I don't think I prepped you that we do a recommendation portion of it. Do you have any recommendations this week, buddy?
Sure. What I'm going to recommend is going to be Dick Tracy Forever. It just came out from IDW. It's a follow-up series to the last IDW series. They had Dick Tracy DOA from the Alred Brothers. This one's by Michael Alming. He does, I think, Powers with Brian Michael Bendis. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cities at War came out this week. That's number 93. And I'm also going to recommend Heroes in Crisis number 8. Objectively.
Everyone laughed. That was pretty good.
Dun.
Now, seriously, if you can remove the connection to the characters, it's not a badly written book. So I'm gonna recommend it on the strength of that alone.
There's no wrong recommendations, my friend.
I swear to God, after Wednesday morning, I swear my whole Twitter feed was just whoa, Heroes in Crisis.
Yeah, I saw it, and it was like, what the hell's going on?
Like, I'm at work. What do you guys? I haven't even made it to the shop yet. What's going on?
Awesome. So Pele, what are your recommendations this week?
Okay, the shop recommendation was Thanos number 1. I'm doing that because of the in-game tie-ins. It's. I don't know if anybody's read Thanos number 1.
I did.
I thought it was all right.
It was okay.
It was okay. But there's a really cool 1 in 10 variant cover on that. I know people really don't like variants as far around here, but it's got a really cool photo cover. It's probably going to be a good one to pick up because it's going to go up in value a little bit. My personal recommendation though is Spawn. If you're not buying Spawn, something's wrong with you.
Well, that cover was so cool too. Jesus.
Oh God.
I'm getting show it. Show me your floppies.
Show it.
Look at that. Just look at this cover. This just gives me that 90 vibe when Todd was doing it. Look at that. The cape's all retardedly poofing cool. Like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Can I jump in? I'm going to say I picked that up too. I jumped on the Spawn train and I got that cover.
Dad was talking about it. And Paley was bringing up the price. I'm like, what am I doing?
I'm glad more people are getting on Spawn because I'm.
And that is also a good jumping on book. That book is.
There we go.
The whole history.
Beautiful. That's the Virgin cover variant right there. So it's beautiful. Look at that.
290 something. What is this? The cover number. What issue is this one?
296.
296.
Yeah, 296.
So, I think you told me I should go back to 294, right?
Yeah, I'd go back to 291 while they're cheap.
I might check to see the LCS, see what they got.
Okay.
Yeah, just get them because they're cheap because they're a good story. It's a good story.
All right,
solid.
So my recommendation this week is going to be Criminal number 4 from IDW, Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Excellent series. If you haven't read the ones in the past, they're really good, like gritty crime comic books. I think this new one is really good. It's got a weird tie-in to comic books. There's like a comic book artist that's part of it, and I find it really enjoyable. There aren't any good characters. When I mean good, I mean like wholesome. They're kind of all different shades of bad, but it's an interesting world. I enjoy it a lot. And then my second one is going to be Freedom Fighters number 5, and Robert Venditti on that one, and really subverted my expectations. I read the first one. I didn't like the issue very much. And then 2 got better, and it's getting better every week, and I'm really enjoying it. And if you want to see a review on it, I believe, Ash, you have a review on the channel, right?
Yeah, I did. I just posted my review early this morning, and I hope everyone will watch it, give me some views. I could use some love. But the short story is this book if you were a fan of like old school classic, just adventure comics that were just about fun and beating up the bad guy, Venditti is capturing it perfect in this issue. It just feels like classic comic books without all of the extra window dressing and trying to be deep and, you know, philosophical. It's just, let's have a bad guy. It's Nazis. We got a team of freedom fighters that are trying to free the country, and let's go have a story. It's fun.
Oh, I want to interject something real quick. Another recommended. Venom number 13 is the new Venom. Was a new launch as far as it's first appearance of the new Venom. So check it out. It's really good. Hello?
You kind of cut out a little bit there. Did anyone else hear that?
I did.
Oh,
yeah.
I was just gonna say Venom number 13 is the new first appearance of the new Venom, and check it out. It's pretty good.
You say new Venom, so it's not Brock, it's not Flash Thompson.
New symbiote.
New symbiote.
So yeah, that's on my to-do list. I didn't realize that, or I would have already read it.
Whole new symbiote, and it's not, and they're calling him Venom.
All
Yeah.
right, there you go.
Apparently.
All right, so that's gonna wrap. That's gonna wrap up
on me. But yeah.
That's gonna wrap up the stream today. It was went much better than I anticipated. I appreciate all the panelists. There wasn't a whole lot of arguing and everything. I think everyone got out their points really well, and I think it was a good experience for the viewers. So, Jeremy, if people want to follow you, where can they check you out, buddy?
Just on Twitter at -1 digit with the number 1.
All right. He's also got a channel out there with one video on it. If you want to check it out,
it's not important. Don't watch it. It's fun. Don't worry about it.
All right. I want to thank Jamal so much for coming on here. I know that you were going to have a dissenting view on Heroes in Crisis 8, so I appreciate you showing up and providing your point of view on it. I know you have a lot of stuff going on. Where can people find you, buddy?
You can find me pretty much you can just Jamal is Trash or GT Media Reviews. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, I think you have a YouTube channel. You got a website. You have a blog.
Well, no. Once I started hanging out with like the Comics Gig community, I had like a lot of backlash. So I just
call yourself Trash.
Yeah, I just you know, because I was getting that from like people that I hung out with. So I was like, you know what, I'll own it. Fuck it.
You gotta run over.
Nice. I gotta check out your channel.
But right now my community is mainly on Facebook because I'm trying to get that area running. Because it's a lot. The audience is more diverse there. As far as like just the views that I'm getting on YouTube and Twitter is like it's really hard to grow if you're not connected with somebody.
I find that to be the truth.
Yeah, so I'm just playing around with stuff. But if you look up Jamal is Trash or GT Media Reviews, you'll find me.
Jamal is Trash has a nice kind of you kind of sticks in your head. It's a brain teaser. I like that.
Like, what is he doing with that?
It's like, what? You know, I don't think I'll ever forget that. Everybody, what's that? Oh yeah, Jamal is Trash. I'll remember that one.
So, you know, if you're looking for more perspective on Heroes in Crisis 8, Ash on Comics actually has a 2-part series. It's a little over an hour long in total. Maybe it's not quite an hour.
It's like 30 minutes and 20 minutes.
Yeah, okay. It's like 50 minutes. I definitely recommend you go check it out. He does a very good job framing his thoughts, and then the second part is where he kind of dives into his feelings on it. Everyone should go watch it. It's a great 2-part series. I found it amazing. And like I said, also check out his Freedom Fighters 5 review. I'm not going to be able to get one up on the channel, but he has a great review as well. Okay. Ash, what else you got going on, buddy?
That's about it. I'm just trying to get. I took this whole spring break, got me all lumped up, and I stopped posting stuff, and I was like, oh geez. So I'm just really trying to just crank out videos right now, get some reviews, get some commentary. The whole Heroes in Crisis took me by unexpectedly, and that's it. Like I try to make my channel just for anyone to know, like just more about comics. I'm a total Comics Gate supporter, but there's so many people talking about the drama all the time and all this stuff, and I was like, that's great, but there's few people talking about the actual comics and what's fun about comics, and that's what I'm trying to do, is just explore the good and the bad, and when it's good, promote it, share that enthusiasm, like you guys just did earlier on Turtles. It makes me want to explore it myself, and that's what the industry needs more of. So hopefully I can accomplish something with that. And then real quick, just as a final point, I want to say I've been trying to push this agenda a lot, is you guys promote books, like share tweets, post on Facebook. If there's a book you love, like the new Turtles, whatever, share it. Encourage everyone to share it, because the comics industry has such poor marketing, and they'll put all of their resources into being like, Bendis is coming, but they won't tell you about Hawkman, and that book's dangerously close to getting canceled. The TMNT books have their fan base, but they don't sell huge either, and it's important when something's good that we get that word of mouth. Don't discount it.
I believe Hitch is almost off of Hawkman, or was last issue his last issue?
Issue 12 was Hitch's last art issue, but Venditti is continuing to write it.
Yep. So we're already seeing some.
What's the distribution numbers on Hawkman? Do you have them right there?
I don't have them with the touch of. Last I heard they were around 25,000.
Oh, that's not. Close.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
So like,
but 12. It could be lower. I mean, that was like
10,
I think a couple months ago.
I think 10 to 12,000 is about where they go.
Yeah.
Not with DC. They canceled Immortal Man at 26,000.
Yeah, I got a question about you guys with Robert Venditti's books. Is anybody else having the issue where his books are great, but they all read in like 5 minutes?
Yeah, that's the way all of his
books
are.
He's not a wordy guy.
They're paced really well and they're exciting.
Yeah,
so I go through them like.
I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just like I want more.
Right. Yeah, I hear you.
I could expand that a bit. I see that a lot with a lot of modern books. Like I said, I let the modern books stack up, and I put like maybe a few hours and I'm done.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you one thing though, like Venditti's books, especially Hawkman, are extremely rereadable.
Yeah.
Partly because of that, because he's so efficient with his storytelling. He doesn't just sit there and blab at you over and over. Like, okay, we get it. He tells you what you need. He's a show not tell kind of guy.
Yeah.
And yes, you kind of do get through the books quick if you don't pace yourself and slow down. But man, you can reread those books and you will love it.
Yeah. Exo-Man of War is great too.
Yeah, it's mine.
Oh, fantastic. Amazing.
Right. This is your channel, bro.
People on this stream were telling me it got kind of poopy.
Oh, yeah.
He's referring to the previous series, Exo-Man of War, by Venditti.
Venditti's run is perfect.
Yeah. I have no problems with it.
It's awesome. So thank you very much. Ash, everyone should be following him, and Sergeant Bats. We didn't get his recommendations because he had to jump out. Pele, we already did Pele. We're on me. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Pele, we're not on recommentions. We're on goodbyes. Where can people follow you?
How did Endgame end?
Stop it.
Watch the spoiler review on the channel.
Yeah. I've not seen it yet. Yeah, I've not seen it yet. I've been trying to avoid the spoilers, and I'm like, oh no. But unfortunately, I've had people, we have the anti-Comicsgate shitheads who, reply to you with spoilers. So it's like, you bastards, so lame. But anyway, you can find me at pretty much all the social media outlets: Twitter, Instagram, @just_Pele, @just_Pele, and on Twitter, I tend to be kind of political, pro Comicsgate, and Instagram, I'm just all about the comics, talk about comics, show comic covers.
So thank you all for showing up. If you want to hear my Endgame spoiler review, I did that before this stream with Comic Stacks. If you aren't following him, he's also great. Really appreciate everything. And I want to apologize. I didn't get out nearly as much content as I wanted to because of my earthquake. Took out a whole day of electricity almost. And then I actually had to head out of town and take care of earthquake. It was my earthquake. I caused it.
He owns it.
Take responsibility for that earthquake.
And then I had to head out of town to take care of some personal business, do some baby shopping. If you don't know, I have a baby. Well, my wife and I have a baby coming in about 9 days. So we're really excited about that. So
number 2, right? Baby number.
Yeah,
that is so
baby
awesome.
number 2. 2 boys.
Wow.
Just showing off. Way to flex on everyone in the group.
Oh yeah.
The earthquake wasn't contractions, was it?
Nah, not yet. she wasn't very happy, obviously, but so I'll be trying to get out more content.
Was
What's
the trip
that?
okay? Was the trip
Oh
okay
yeah,
for her?
Yeah, it went perfect. She felt great. She even enjoyed it in game with me. And if you haven't seen Endgame and you enjoy the MCU, you're gonna like it. I think you're gonna like it a lot. And with that, so I'm Poe. I'm out.